I am thrilled to be joining you today for a powerful message on controlling your feelings. You see, in life, we are often faced with situations that trigger a range of emotions within us. And sometimes these emotions can feel overwhelming and out of control. But I am here to tell you that you are not alone in this struggle. In fact, it is a common challenge that we all face. However, the good news is that we have the power to turn things around and take control of our feelings. And in today's message, I will be sharing with you the 5 keys that will help you do just that. These are the same principles that have helped me and countless others to live a more fulfilling and emotionally stable life. So if you are ready to take charge of your emotions and experience a positive shift in your life, then I invite you to keep watching. Because, my friends, it's time to unlock the 5 keys to controlling your feelings. Let's dive in. Starting with the number 5 key to controlling your feelings, which is shifting your perspective. Now, I know what some of you may be thinking. How can we possibly control our feelings? Aren't our emotions something that just happened to us beyond our control? Well, I am here to tell you that while we may not have complete control over what we feel, we do have control over how we respond to those feelings. And that, my friends, is where the power lies. So, let's dive right into it. The 5th key to controlling your feelings is to shift your perspective. What does that mean exactly? It means changing the way you view a situation or an emotion. You see, our thoughts and beliefs shape our feelings. And oftentimes, our thoughts and beliefs are not based on reality, but rather on our own perceptions and interpretations. For example, let's say you receive some constructive criticism at work. How do you react? Do you get defensive and angry, thinking that your boss is out to get you? Or do you take a step back and see it as an opportunity to improve and grow? The situation is the same, but the way you perceive it can make all the difference. The truth is, we have the power to choose our thoughts and beliefs. And by consciously choosing to shift our perspective, we can control how we feel about a situation. This is not to say that we should ignore our emotions or suppress them. Emotions are a natural part of being human, and it's important to acknowledge and process them. But it's also important to not let them control us. So, how can we shift our perspective? It starts with awareness. We must first become aware of our thoughts and beliefs. Are they serving us or holding us back? Are they based on facts or assumptions? Once we become aware, we can then challenge and reframe them. Let me give you an example. Let's say you have a fear of public speaking. Your thoughts may be something like, I'm not a good speaker. I'll embarrass myself in front of everyone. But is that really true? Have you ever given a speech before? Have you received positive feedback from others? By challenging these thoughts and reframing them to something like, I may feel nervous, but I have prepared and I have something valuable to share, you can shift your perspective and feel more confident. Another way to shift your perspective is to practice empathy. Put yourself in someone else's shoes and try to see things from their point of view. This can help you understand their actions and reactions, and in turn, change your own perspective. It can also help you be more understanding and compassionate towards others, which can improve your relationships and overall well-being. Now, I know that shifting your perspective is not always easy. It takes practice and effort. But the rewards are worth it. By shifting your perspective, you can change how you feel about a situation and ultimately take control of your emotions. This is especially important in times of adversity or challenges. Instead of feeling defeated and helpless, you can choose to see it as an opportunity for growth and learning. In fact, some of the most successful and resilient individuals are those who have mastered the art of shifting their perspective. They see failures as lessons, setbacks as opportunities, and challenges as stepping stones towards their goals. And you can do the same. Now to the 4th key to controlling your feelings, which is using coping mechanisms. Coping mechanisms are strategies or techniques that we use to deal with difficult or challenging situations. They help us to regulate our emotions and maintain a sense of balance and stability in our lives. Just like a ship needs an anchor to stay grounded during a storm, we too need coping mechanisms to keep us steady when the waves of life come crashing down on us. Now you may be wondering, what exactly are these coping mechanisms? Well, they can come in many forms and vary from person to person. Some people find solace in physical activities such as exercise or sports, while others turn to creative outlets like art or music. Some may find comfort in spending time with loved ones, while others may prefer to be alone and reflect on their thoughts. The key is to find what works for you and use it as a tool to manage your emotions. One of the most effective coping mechanisms is deep breathing and mindfulness. When we are faced with a stressful situation, our body's natural response is to go into fight or flight mode. This can cause our heart rate to increase, our muscles to tense up, and our thoughts to race. By taking a few deep breaths and focusing on the present moment, we can calm our nervous system and bring ourselves back to a state of balance. This allows us to think more clearly and make better decisions. Another powerful coping mechanism is positive self-talk. Our thoughts have a significant impact on our emotions. When we constantly tell ourselves negative things, we start to believe them, and our emotions reflect that. On the other hand, when we practice positive self-talk, we are able to shift our mindset and see things in a more optimistic light. This can help us to manage our emotions and maintain a more positive outlook on life. Gratitude is also a powerful coping mechanism. When we focus on what we are grateful for, we shift our attention away from our negative emotions and onto the blessings in our lives. It allows us to see the bigger picture and realize that no matter how difficult a situation may seem, there is always something to be thankful for. Practicing gratitude also helps us to cultivate a more positive and resilient mindset, making it easier to deal with challenging emotions. Another coping mechanism that is often overlooked is seeking support from others. We all need a strong support system in our lives, especially during difficult times. Whether it's talking to a trusted friend or seeking professional help, reaching out to others can provide us with the emotional support and guidance we need to manage our feelings. It is important to remember that asking for help is not a sign of weakness, but rather a sign of strength and courage. Lastly, a powerful coping mechanism is finding purpose and meaning in our lives. When we have a clear sense of purpose and direction, we are better equipped to handle difficult emotions. It gives us a reason to keep going and motivates us to overcome any challenges that come our way. Whether it's through our career, relationships, or personal goals, having a sense of purpose can bring a sense of fulfillment and joy to our lives. Now moving on to the third key to controlling your feelings, which is practicing self-awareness. So what exactly is self-awareness? It is the ability to recognize and understand our own emotions, thoughts, and behaviors. It is about being in tune with ourselves, knowing our strengths and weaknesses, and being aware of how we respond to different situations. Self-awareness is not something that comes naturally to most of us. It is a skill that must be developed and practiced. Now, why is self-awareness so important when it comes to controlling our feelings? Let me tell you a little story. There was a time in my life when I was struggling with my emotions. I would get angry and frustrated over the smallest things. I would let my emotions take control of me, and it was affecting my relationships and my work. I knew I needed to do something about it, so I started practicing self-awareness. I began to pay attention to my thoughts and emotions. I would ask myself, why am I feeling this way? What triggered this reaction? Is this emotion serving me or hindering me? It wasn't easy at first, but with practice, I became more aware of my feelings and the reasons behind them. And you know what? It made a world of difference. I was able to control my reactions and respond in a more productive and positive manner. You see, when we are not self-aware, we tend to react impulsively to our emotions. We let them take over, and we say or do things that we later regret. But when we are self-aware, we can pause and reflect before reacting. We can choose how we want to respond to a situation rather than being controlled by our emotions. And let me tell you, my friends, that is a powerful skill to have. Self-awareness also helps us to identify patterns in our behavior and emotions. We can recognize when we are falling into negative thought patterns or when we are reacting in a certain way. And once we are aware of these patterns, we can work on changing them. We can replace negative thoughts with positive ones and choose healthier ways to deal with our emotions. But self-awareness is not just about controlling our negative emotions. It is also about recognizing and embracing our positive emotions. When we are self-aware, we can fully experience and appreciate moments of joy, happiness, and gratitude. We can also identify what brings us joy and make sure to incorporate more of those things into our lives. Now, I know some of you may be thinking, but Jim, how do I become more self-aware? Well, my friends, it takes practice. It takes a conscious effort to pay attention to our thoughts and emotions. Here are a few tips to help you develop self-awareness. First, take some time for self-reflection. This can be through journaling, meditation, or simply taking a few moments to be alone with your thoughts. Ask yourself questions like, how am I feeling right now? What triggered this emotion? What can I learn from this experience? Second, seek feedback from others. Sometimes we may not be aware of certain behaviors or patterns in our emotions. Ask a trusted friend or family member for their honest feedback. It may be uncomfortable, but it can be eye-opening. Third, pay attention to your body. Our physical sensations can give us clues about our emotions. Notice if you feel tense, have a racing heart, or shallow breathing. These may be signs of certain emotions that you may not be aware of. And finally, practice mindfulness. Mindfulness is the act of being present in the moment without judgment. When we are mindful, we are more aware of our thoughts, emotions, and surroundings. It can help us to be more self-aware and make conscious choices about our reactions. My friends, self-awareness is a journey, and it takes time and effort. But I promise you, it is worth it. When we are self-aware, we are better equipped to manage our emotions and live a more fulfilling life. And that leads me to our next topic of personal development, self-discipline. Self-discipline is the ability to control our impulses, emotions, and desires, and to stay focused on our goals and values. It is the key to achieving success and reaching our full potential. And just like self-awareness, self-discipline is a skill that can be developed and strengthened with practice. Which leads us to the number 2 key to controlling your feelings, which is understand the root cause. You see, our feelings are often a result of our thoughts and beliefs. We have a tendency to attach emotions to certain thoughts and beliefs, and these emotions can become overwhelming if left unchecked. But by understanding the root cause of our feelings, we can gain control over them and use them to our advantage. So what is the root cause of our feelings? It is our perception. Our perception of a situation or event determines how we feel about it. Let me give you an example. Imagine you are stuck in traffic on your way to an important meeting. Your initial reaction may be frustration, anger, or stress. But what if you change your perception and see this as an opportunity to listen to your favorite podcast or audiobook? Suddenly, your feelings of frustration have been replaced with feelings of relaxation and enjoyment. This example may seem simple, but it illustrates the power of perception. We have the ability to choose how we perceive a situation, and in turn, control how we feel about it. This is not to say that we should ignore or suppress our emotions. On the contrary, we should acknowledge and honor them. But by understanding the root cause of our feelings, we can shift our perception and use our emotions to our advantage. Now, you may be wondering, how do we change our perception? The answer is simple: by changing our thoughts and beliefs. Our thoughts and beliefs are the foundation of our perception. If we have negative thoughts and beliefs, it will be reflected in our perception of the world around us. But if we have positive thoughts and beliefs, Our perception will be more optimistic and empowering. So how do we change our thoughts and beliefs? It all starts with self-awareness. We must become aware of our thoughts and question them. Are they serving us? Are they based on facts or assumptions? Are they helping us to achieve our goals? By questioning our thoughts, we can identify any negative or limiting beliefs that may be holding us back. Once we have identified these beliefs, we can then work on replacing them with more positive and empowering ones. This is not an overnight process, but with consistent effort and practice, we can change our thoughts and beliefs and in turn change our perception. But it's not just about changing our thoughts and beliefs. It's also about surrounding ourselves with positive influences. The people we spend time with, the books we read, the media we consume, all of these can have a significant impact on our thoughts and beliefs. So choose your influences wisely. Surround yourself with people who uplift and inspire you. Read books that challenge and motivate you. Consume media that adds value to your life. In addition to changing our thoughts and beliefs, we must also learn to manage our emotions. As I mentioned earlier, we cannot always control what we feel, but we can control how we respond to those feelings. This is where emotional intelligence comes into play. Emotional intelligence is the ability to understand and manage our own emotions and the emotions of others. By developing our emotional intelligence, we can become more self-aware and learn to regulate our emotions. This means not letting our emotions dictate our actions, but instead making conscious and rational decisions. It also means being empathetic and understanding the emotions of others. Now, I want to be clear. Understanding the root cause of our feelings does not mean that we will never experience negative emotions. Life is full of ups and downs, and it's natural to feel sad, angry, or frustrated at times. But by understanding the root cause of our feelings, we can learn to navigate through these emotions and use them to our advantage. And now this leads us to the number one key to controlling your feelings, which is identifying and acknowledging your emotions. See, the real key to controlling our feelings is to identify and acknowledge them. Yes, you heard me right. We must first identify and acknowledge our emotions before we can even think about controlling them. You see, our emotions are like a compass. They guide us towards what truly matters to us. They are a reflection of our innermost desires and needs. And when we ignore or suppress them, we are essentially ignoring our own needs and desires. So how do we identify and acknowledge our emotions? It starts with self-awareness. We must be willing to take a deep dive into our own minds and hearts. This requires us to be honest with ourselves and to be open to what we may find. It may not always be easy, but it is necessary for our growth and well-being. One powerful way to increase our self-awareness is through journaling. Take a few minutes each day to sit down and write about your thoughts and feelings. This will help you to identify any patterns or triggers that may be causing certain emotions to arise. It will also give you a chance to acknowledge and process those emotions in a healthy way. Another important aspect of self-awareness is mindfulness. This means being present in the moment and paying attention to our thoughts and feelings without judgment. It allows us to observe our emotions without getting caught up in them. This practice takes time and patience, but it is a powerful tool for controlling our feelings. Once we have identified and acknowledged our emotions, the next step is to understand them. We must dig deeper and ask ourselves why we are feeling a certain way. What is the root cause of our emotions? Is it a past experience, a current situation, or something else entirely? Understanding the source of our emotions can help us to gain clarity and perspective. But understanding our emotions is not enough. We must also learn how to manage them. This is where the real work begins. We must develop healthy coping mechanisms and strategies to deal with our emotions in a productive way. This could include talking to a trusted friend or therapist, practicing relaxation techniques, or engaging in physical activity. Find what works for you and make it a part of your daily routine. But let me tell you, managing our emotions is not a one-time thing. It is an ongoing process. Just like our physical health, we must constantly work on our emotional well-being. And it starts with taking responsibility for our emotions. We must understand that we are in control of how we feel, not anyone else. No one can make us feel a certain way without our consent. Now, I want to address a common misconception about emotions. Many people believe that some emotions are good while others are bad. But the truth is, all emotions are valid and serve a purpose. It is how we choose to express and manage them that makes the difference. For example, anger can be a powerful motivator for change, but if we let it consume us, it can lead to destructive behavior. So the key to controlling our feelings is not to eliminate certain emotions, but to learn how to manage and express them in a healthy way. And this brings me to my next point, the importance of communication. As human beings, we are social creatures, and our emotions are often intertwined with our relationships. Therefore, it is crucial that we learn how to communicate our emotions effectively. This means being honest and open with ourselves and others about how we are feeling. It means setting boundaries and expressing our needs in a respectful manner. It also means being willing to listen and empathize with others when they are expressing their emotions. Communication is a two-way street, and it is essential for healthy relationships. Now, I want to leave you with the final thought. Emotions are a part of our human experience. We cannot control what we feel, but we can control how we respond to those feelings. So I challenge you to take responsibility for your emotions, to identify and acknowledge them, and to develop healthy strategies for managing them. This is the key to controlling your feelings and living a fulfilling and purposeful life. Thank you.